So we have been playing in the land of what if this month. And we're going to keep on playing in the land of what if. Last week we talked about this idea of sacred desire, and that if we can recognize the desires within us as the sacred calling of the divine, tapping us on the shoulder and saying, hey, you could play here, you could do this, and let go of the scary monster feeling of, oh, what if it's my scary ego trying to lead me astray. We just laid all of that down last week. Did that lead for a better week? Yes. Yeah, right? And so this week we're going to play in the land of what we see will defy explanation. That's my little emoji for mind blown. Now, we can't say it's going to defy expectation. That's the phrase you're expected to hear, right? Because we're going to play with the concept of positive expectation, positive expectancy, which is something that Ernest Holmes talked about all the time. And if you're reading The Science of Mind in a year with us, you have definitely run across that phrase a couple of times at least so far. And guess what? You're going to get a lot more of it. So if we're playing in the land of positive expectancy, everything we're doing is defying expectation. We want to go so far that we can't even explain how amazing it's going to be. We're going to defy explanation. See, there's this phrase. I bet you've heard it. It's so popular, it is up on the wall in the office. There's a power for good in the universe, greater than you are, greater than I am, greater than all of us. And we can use it. We can use it. Which leads to a very natural question. Why aren't we doing that? Or why aren't we doing it better, bigger, more powerfully, more visibly? If you're anything like me, you came into this teaching and were dazzled by the way it shifted your feelings and your relationships and how you showed up in the world. And then you kind of hit the smooth slide where you're like, is this it? Is this as good as it gets? And you can raise your hand in your mind if you felt that kind of stall out. Isn't there more? Oh, my friends. Opening up to positive expectancy is the path to more, to the bigger, to the walking out our faith in a way that becomes so big. Not only are our minds blown, but the people around us start going, where do you go on Sundays? What is that book you're reading? What's going on with you? Because something is just extra sparkly. So, in order to get there, we have to decide to have the courage to expect beyond appearances. Now, we know how this goes. I'm so sorry if this is new news to you, but life is full of conditions. Stuff that happens. We turn on the news, oh, there's some stuff. We get a phone call from a family member, oh, there's some stuff. We go to work, there's stuff. We look at politics, there's stuff. We look at even our crafting. I managed to stitch a whole shirt together backwards yesterday. Then I got the joy of unpicking all of those stitches because stuff happens. And I would love to tell you that following this philosophy of science of the mind means nothing bad is ever going to happen to you, or in the case of my shirt, nothing annoying. It wasn't really bad, it was just annoying. Is ever going to happen to you. But is that how life works? No, nope. The Buddhists tell us pain is inevitable. But suffering is not. See, suffering is the difference. The difference between pain and suffering is the belief that it should be different. As opposed to, life rolls like this, and I let it roll. Now we can afford to have that perspective. Why? Because of positive expectancy. See, things can be a little bit bumpy, and I can be okay with it when I remember that I expect more good to happen. Even in the messy, what good will come from this? But that that calls us to dig way deep down, because the appearances are right here, right in our faces, right? And sometimes they're yelling, figuratively or literally. Sometimes it's heavy and it's a lot. So how do we beat the temptation? So my grandmother's Catholic and she's in hospice right now. So I've been saying a lot of Catholic prayers. And it jumped out to me yesterday when I was saying for the 57 millionth time in 5 days, lead us not into temptation. And I was like, the temptation of what? The temptation of what? The temptation into hopelessness and resignation and the fact of a condition that you cannot immediately change. Oh, because anybody out there watch the news and, oh, woe is me. I am powerless. I mean, I can't personally stop the shelling in Iran. I can't personally change the behavior of Congress or my local government. I can't personally get inside any one of y'all's head and make you behave right, despite my best efforts. And yet, can we stand tall above the temptation into hopelessness, into the resignation that this is how it's always been and it will never get better? Can we? See, to expect better, to expect more, is a revolutionary act. How many times in this teaching do we say everything is created twice? Everything is created twice. Once in the mind of the person who thinks it up, which makes it possible. Without that idea, it can never be possible. And then the second time when it is walked out in reality. Now, I don't know right now, with a deep breath, I don't know if I trust our government to have a higher expectation of a world of peace. I don't know if I'm counting on them right now to see that immense magical possibility. But I can see it. Marty can see it. Can you see it? Can you see that? Perhaps it feels far away, a tiny little star in the epic distance, but there it is, that possibility for global peace. If we can see it, we can have it. Because everything comes into the communal subjective, the communal unconscious, through one of us using that subconscious. And once it's in there through an idea, guess what? Everybody else has access to it. Absolutely everybody. And eventually comes to the point when the culture changes. Because enough of us picked up that opportunity. Enough of us said, oh, I can see that star and I can pull it just a little bit closer. And closer and closer and closer until it's right here. Remember when we thought we had to sell this building because we couldn't afford it? Remember when we thought that that was reasonable because there were so few of us we didn't need this big old campus? Yes. What do you think now? What do you think now? And we stood in the face, when we decided not to sell, when the sale fell through, we stood in the face of people saying, that's not rational. That's not reasonable. That's not realistic. How does it feel now? The thing we have to do to start opening to expectation is to anchor into our faith, our recognition that Spirit has promised, whether through the book you read, through the class you took, or through the voice on the inside of you leading you directly to your own connected internal truth. Spirit has promised. Good is always coming. Does it mean you're going to like what you see right in front of you in the moment? No, you might deeply not like it. And guess what? That's okay. That's okay. But Spirit has promised that even through that, good is coming. Even through the thing you say you do not want, more good for you is coming. Always, 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 always. There's always another bright horizon. There just is. So we anchor into that, and we let that deep faith shape our approach, shape our personal experience from the inside out. And in the beloved book, this thing called You, Ernest Holmes said, faith is the most important thing in your life. The most important. It is impossible to arrive at the grandeur of its possibility through petty thinking and small ideas. 100 years later, and that quote holds so much for us. So, the first step is just deciding. Deciding when I catch myself wandering off in oh no land, that I'm going to pull myself back into what has Spirit promised me. What do I really believe is the nature of life itself? And from there, we get to step into the idea of living out our positive expectancy as an invitation for healing, for ourselves and for everybody else. When we stand in polarized conversations, inflated media screaming, the social media feeds, the finger pointing, the these idiots and the those losers, and the all of these people this and the none of those people that, right? That doesn't actually speak to any of the actual people involved, because there is no dungeon in which we put everybody that doesn't agree with us because they are not human. That's not how it works. We might try in our mind, and if you are, take a breath. We're where we're at, it's okay. But every single one of those people is a person with a family and a life and a set of beliefs and a hope. And we can invite them into a higher expectancy simply by living that ourselves. Now, expecting good in the face of difficult conditions can look naive. It can look irresponsible. It can look a little bit loopy. Right? I've had people say to me, oh, that's really cute for your job, but I have to live in the real world. People say crazy stuff. And I get it. It can feel like I get to live up here in my shiny ivory tower and I don't have to deal with real stuff. But I'm a people too. Reverend Karen's a person too. We each and every one of us are dealing with the stuff that is up in our lives. And when we are faced with this idea of positive expectancy being naive or unreasonable, that's when that faith matters the most. That's when anchoring into the not just hope of something better, but the knowingness that better is on its way. That's when it has the biggest opportunity to change, because you get the opportunity to be like this guy who is holding his center in the midst of the chaos. Have you ever known someone that you just felt better sitting near? They didn't even have to talk. You can be that. This isn't about going on social media and writing a big long post about how everybody should handle it like you do, with magnanimity and love for everyone. If only they were so spiritual like you. I too have fallen prey to the social media rant. Now and again. This isn't that. This is living your life as a rebuttal to the narrative that things are worse and getting worse and always going to get worse, and it's those people's fault. Right? This is showing up as the divine in action without having to say a word about it. It's gently, lovingly redirecting a conversation or taking a step out of it if it can't be turned into something more positive. For me this week, it's been knitting quietly and praying with my grandmother, who I believe hears me on some level, while my aunts and my mom have to make really hard decisions. I don't have to be in the decision-making role as granddaughter this week. I get to be in the role of knowing that of all of us, Grandma's fine. She's not in pain. She is, I think, already sitting there with my grandfather. Maybe having a nice dance to one of those Glenn Campbell songs she likes so much. We all get the opportunity to be that place of center somewhere in our lives. And you know what? Nobody's going to show up and say, it is your turn. Be the center. They didn't tell me that either. That's just, I'm trained to do that. It's my coping mechanism, right? But there will be a moment this week when you look around your world and you will say, oh, it's my turn. I am the center. I am the one that gets to see the higher possibility this time. We get to model that hope isn't passive, that dreaming isn't exiting the situation, that it's calling in the next big connective possibility. See, expectancy is a spiritual stance in troubled times, holding the positive expectancy. This is what Ernest Holmes was talking about when he said, be for something and against nothing. He didn't say be okay with things that are harmful. That's not what he meant. He meant you see the thing that's harmful, you see how it's doing harm, own it, call it out, yeah. But no is not the place from which change happens. Change happens when you can imagine that which eradicates that problem, that which offers the solution to that perceived problem. The answer comes in the yes. I don't like what's going on in military unfoldments. I am a stand for peace. I will move in the direction of peace. I don't like what's happening in this relationship in my life where there is anger and hate. I am a stand for healthy relationships. I am a stand for love. That's where we're heading. Positive expectancy is seeing, I don't know why the bad thing lives right here, but apparently it does based on my hand motions. Seeing the condition, whatever it is, and saying, my God, my divinity is bigger than that condition. I hear Reverend Sherry in my head, Sherry McCreary. My God is bigger than the IRS, she said. And it was. She totally figured that thing out. My faith is bigger than this situation I see playing out online or on the media or in my home. And I choose to stand with the faith that good is coming. And I am willing, ready, take a breath. I am willing when that truth comes through me to take action in that direction in the physical world as well. Yeah? This is not a sit in your enlightened pillar and just be better. Yeah, do that. And then climb down from your, please don't put me on a pedestal. I crash hard and I'm kind of klutzy. But come down from your meditation, open up your heart, and move your feet in the direction that you feel Spirit calling you to. This teaching is never going to tell you what to do. We're never going to tell you where to go, what to protest, what to open up, what to love, what to hate. Never. We'll point you in the direction of the principles that you claim to follow and invite you to see what that means to you in your life now. I would rather see you powerfully, beautifully walking in the opposite direction of my political beliefs than sitting confused and frustrated and in pain. Because it's not really about the political beliefs. If we were all in alignment with spiritual principle, if we were all in balance in divine qualities like love and peace and joy, hell yeah, Jesse, joy. No matter what political beliefs we had, we would be walking lockstep in the direction of a better world. Because hatred and cutting people out and driving people down cannot exist in the face of spiritual principle. Am I right? Yes. It's just the truth, man. It's just the truth. And so, Spirit does the work through us to defy all of those expectations and explanations. We just have to over and over and over and over again decide that our faith is bigger than the condition and open up to that positive expectation. And so Ernest, bless Ernest, our founder of our teaching, and the venerable Raymond Charles Barker, another minister in our field, they put together the 365 Days of Richer Living book, which if you have not played with it, delicious. And they had this to say: today, my faith, my hope, my expectancy look up and out and behold a limitless abundance, present everywhere, flowing through all things, a limitless love giving of itself to everything, an infinite peace enveloping all, and behind it all and around it and through it, a joy forever singing a song of happiness and fulfillment. When we start the day with that, today my faith looks up and out and beholds limitless love, limitless abundance, limitless peace, limitless joy. When we start from that place daily, the world changes. And so here's my invitation for you this week, and as we move forward, notice your thinking. When doubt or cynicism rise up, kindly thank it for making you aware and replace it with an affirmation. Faith is a habit. We can build it through intention. I will be doing the same. And so it is. Let's anchor this in with some prayer. How good it is to simply be together and to know the high calling of positive expectation, that expectancy is met every time, with a yes from the divine. That Spirit is right there with open arms saying, use me. Use this embedded power of truth and good that is right here for you. And each beloved responds with an open heart, with a willingness to be the truth of the divine in action every day, in every situation. How good it is to remember that there is no condition bigger than Spirit. There is no problem that cannot be healed in Spirit. And that every step any one of us takes in the direction of higher expectancy is a gift to all of the world. And so I just know that whatever got brought into this space and into this online space, whatever was heavy on our hearts or our minds is being met by the divine right now. And I am grateful, overflowing with gratitude for the good that is and continues to be. I call it all profoundly, delightfully good, as we say. And so it is.